We're now to everyone's favorite subject, taxes. You've read a lot about taxes and you've seen where we've come from, where we used to pay 1%. People only paid 1% of their money in taxes. And it was the only tax that we ever had. Income tax was the only income tax. You didn't have death taxes, you didn't have estate taxes, you didn't have property taxes, you didn't have all the different taxes we have today were irrelevant. And somehow they were able to manage their budget back then. That's a whole different topic than we're going to talk about. But whether you like them or not, you're going to have to pay income taxes. Most of you only need to know a basic amount. You only need to know enough to fill out your tax returns. But there's one big area that probably you should know, because a lot of people don't take advantage when they should, is the difference between itemized and using the standard deduction. Everyone is allowed a standard deduction. It's a certain amount per person and it changes every year. So generally it's between $5,000 and $6,000 a person, or for a married couple it might be $11,000. I know last year was $11,200 for a couple. So you can decide, is the standard deduction, you don't have to show anything for it. You automatically qualify. Everyone automatically qualifies. So it's an easier way to use it. But there's a lot of people who don't use itemized because it takes a little more work. But you could save yourself in taxes if you do use it. If you are tithing, giving to charitable donations, that's an itemized expense that you can use to offset your taxes. The other thing is, if you own your house, you get to subtract property taxes and the interest that you pay on your mortgage. So if you have a pretty big mortgage and if you do tithe a pretty big amount, those might be two key areas that you want to use. Instead of just taking the standard deduction, you might be better off using that itemized. Now, if it's a lot less, you're better off just using the standard. Everybody qualifies, you don't have to prove it. You do have to keep all the receipts and make sure you can show if you do use itemized. But that's one of the questions you'll see in your exercise this week, is the difference between the two. So make sure that you can know how to do that. Go back to your notes. We talk a lot. And there's also a website link for you to talk about some of the advantages of itemizing and what can qualify and what can't. Medical expenses is a tricky one, so make sure you're reading through that carefully when you go to the website.